Welcome to Sunshine Science. Our mission is to alert the public on the dangers of insufficient sun exposure to your health. America's second largest public health problem is insufficient sun exposure. It's responsible for 340,000 preventable deaths per year. Adequate sunshine should be incorporated into daily routines in order to become healthier and increase life expectancy. That's why the Sunshine Health Foundation is committed to alleviating this severe health problem. Our world-renowned scientists provide public health officials with research on the benefits and risks of sun exposure. If you're ready to build healthier communities, then let's get started.
I was listening to an 80s R&B station the other day, and I heard a song by the singer Alexander O'Neal. You might remember this one. I can't go a day without my sunshine. Now, of course, he was talking about a woman, but as I was listening to the song, it occurred to me that he was onto something. Daily sunshine has so many health benefits that we might need to look at his lyrics as a call to action to get daily sensible sun exposure for our health, to be intentional and smart about sun exposure, and to commit to not going one day without our sunshine. But so many of us fear the sun. Why is that? Why do people, particularly Black Americans, fear the sun? Well, today, on this episode of Sunshine Science, that's exactly what we will explore. The top 2 reasons people fear the sun. Now, before we dive in, it's important that I mention heliophobia. Now, heliophobia is a serious mental health condition. It's an anxiety-producing phobia of the sun. The term heliophobia finds its roots in the Greek word for the sun, helios, and phobia means simply a deeply embedded fear. So heliophobia is an intense, sometimes irrational fear of the sun. People with heliophobia are often also afraid of bright indoor light. This phobia is thought to be the result of being sensitive to bright light. And most people who have heliophobia can find help in overcoming it through cognitive behavioral methods, hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, and other techniques. But many people fear and avoid the sun for reasons that are not related to a phobia. And that will be the focus of our time together in this episode of Sunshine Science. The 2 primary reasons people fear the sun. First, many people fear the sun because they're scared to get skin cancer. Not surprising, right? Avoid the sun, it'll give you skin cancer. Use lots of the highest SPF sunscreen. Wear protective clothing, all black to reflect the sun. And don't forget your big hats. It goes on and on. I know you've heard the messages, the warnings, and they've been applied to Black and white Americans alike. But what we don't often hear is that while skin cancer from the sun is a big problem for white Americans, it's not much of a problem for Black Americans. But in an effort to make messaging easy for the public to absorb and understand, public health communication around sun exposure and skin cancer has been misguidedly applied universally to all races. Consider this. While messages from dermatologists warn us that skin cancer rates are increasing, we don't often hear how for Black Americans, those rates haven't changed over time. The reality is that while studies have shown an increase in melanoma rates for white Americans from 10.5 cases per 100,000 people in 1980 to 26.8 cases per 100,000 people in 2020, the rates for Black Americans actually flatlined at 1 case in 100,000. And the type of melanoma occurring in Black Americans has nothing to do with the sun. It's a rare form of melanoma called acrolentiginous melanoma that occurs in the mouth, on the palms of the hands, on the soles of the feet, and under fingernails and toenails. In fact, Bob Marley died from a melanoma under the toenail of his big toe, not from spending too much time in the sun. In the United States, melanoma is the 6th most common cancer for white Americans. For Black Americans, it barely ranks. Between 2014 and 2018, government statistics show that out of more than 334,000 cases of cancer in Black Americans, 675 were melanoma. To be sure, Blacks can get melanoma, but the risk is very low. So skin cancer, specifically melanoma, is mostly a white person's disease. Black Americans need sun exposure. While our melanin protects against damaging ultraviolet solar radiation, it also slows vitamin D production. And public health messaging to avoid the sun has resulted in a widespread fear of skin cancer and an avoidance of the sun that's resulted in vitamin D insufficiency in 95% of the Black American population. Yes, getting too much sun is dangerous for your skin. But contrary to colorblind warnings, getting some sensible sun exposure every day has significant health benefits, especially for people with Black skin. The second major reason we fear the sun is premature aging. When I asked my friends why they feared the sun, fear of wrinkles and premature aging was the #1 answer. Yes, we know that sun damage is a known cause of premature aging, but we must also acknowledge that we live in a society where there's pressure from all directions to stay as young looking for as long as possible. And so many people, particularly women, are scared to go to the beach or do outdoor activities because they are fearful of skin damage, wrinkles, leathering skin, what the experts call photoaging. And despite the old adage, Black don't crack, Black American women are not immune to this fear. But science shows that it's not sensible sun exposure that's the problem. It's repeated burning, usually caused by lying in the sun for hours, that damages the skin and causes premature aging. And again, there are differences here based on race. Since as early as 1979, studies have found that on average, 55% of UVA rays penetrate white skin, while fewer than 18% get through Black skin. This results in a delay in photoaging in people with Black skin. So Black does crack, it's just delayed. This fear of premature aging also leads women of all races to rely heavily on sunscreen to block the sun's rays. And cosmetic companies are making a pretty penny off this fear. So many of our cosmetics today contain sunscreen. It's almost impossible to find a product that does not block UV exposure. And while sunscreen, when used properly, is an excellent product that has a role in the fight against sunburn, overuse of products like wearing foundation with sunscreen on a daily basis may be contributing to vitamin D insufficiency by preventing the body's proper production of it. And while sunburn is common among white Americans, it's rare among Black Americans. When it comes to aging, vitamin D is particularly important for women because of the role it plays in our bone development. Vitamin D deficiencies leach calcium from our muscles and bones, causing pain, weakness, fractures, osteoporosis, all of which are common in women as they age. And did you know that sun exposure can actually treat skin conditions? Yep. According to the World Health Organization, it's absolutely true. In fact, doctors have recommended sun exposure to treat things like psoriasis, acne, jaundice, and eczema. Now, I want to point out that I too want to avoid skin cancer, and I'm definitely just as worried about premature aging as the next woman. But I'm also concerned about maintaining my mental health and my quality of life. Being fearful of the sun is not healthy. Not only does sun exposure offer the benefit of vitamin D production and so many other physical health benefits, but sensible daily sun exposure has been found to reverse seasonal affective disorder, to help with depression. It lowers blood pressure and improves mood. It's been shown that people intuitively associate that warm feeling of the sun on their skin with a sense of relaxation and well-being. I know I do. And the good mood and the high vibe that the sun gives us radiates through the skin, creating a glow that surpasses age. So don't let fear of aging skin prevent you from getting your daily dose of sun exposure. Yes, being sensible about sun exposure is important. You definitely want to avoid burning or turning red. But it's also important not to let fear of the sun rob you from its health-producing benefits and its ability to help you glow and radiate health and well-being from the inside out. Remember, The goal for Black Americans is to get enough sun exposure to get your vitamin D level up to 30 nanograms per milliliter on the standard vitamin D blood test. I hope this episode of Sunshine Science encourages you to start making sensible sun exposure a daily habit. And you'll soon begin to understand why it's so important not to go one day without your sunshine.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're ready to build healthier communities, please visit sunshinehealthfoundation.org to find the latest research on the health benefits and risks of sun exposure. Or you can subscribe to our newsletter for our latest updates. Step out of the dark and embrace sunshine. Let's build healthier communities.